So today we're going to talk about ZISHAN, one of the most popular budget-fi DAPs around. There's a whole community just modding the ZISHAN, modding the capacitors, modding the op-amps, and of course I also have a skin from Yale's Art and Print. So this is a DIYer's dream. You can make it your own, which is why the community loves it so much. Now we have the ZISHAN T1. It still has the DIY DNA, but now with a touchscreen. We're going to take a look at it. Is it worth it? We're going to find out in this video. But of course, big thanks to our friends from Woo Easy. They sent this over for this review. Links down below for their shop. So the ZISHAN Z1, let's take a look at the build first. In terms of dimensions, it's almost the same as what you get with the ZISHAN Z1. And actually a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter with the T1 here. So in terms of the overall width, it's almost the same. In terms of build, they're pretty similar, but the T1 is definitely more substantial, and the metal is also more tough in the ZISHAN T1, but both of them still has that kind of DIY DNA. So at the top, you have a 3.5mm jack, balance connector 2.5, you have micro SD, you have USB-C, which is nice to see in 2019. You have volume up and down buttons, and also the power button at the side, and of course that resistive 2.5-inch touchscreen. The Type-C also supports fast charge, which is nice. It supports PCM 768K and DSD256. It also has changeable firmware, and also with ZISHAN's DIY nature, the DAC is changeable here in the T1. Alright, so I'm using the stock for now. I haven't changed the DACs here. So in terms of build quality, you still have that kind of ZISHAN build quality, the DIY. You can open. It's not as seamless as what you get with maybe Shanling M0. That is like an Apple kind of design. This is not like that. It's more of a DIY kind of design right here. And this plays well, of course, with the DIYers because it's easy to open it. If you want to change some op-amps, it's very easy. So it's still pretty small and compact as what you get with the ZISHAN Z1 also. So this supports 6 languages, also several language support. Actually, when this shipped, it's in Chinese, and I need to, put it into English. There's no album art, which is a bummer, especially for some who wants that, personality in their OS. And look at the background, guys. It's a fixed background here. I don't like the background because it has, that kind of texture. I wish it was just a plain background. Equalizer support right here, and it already has a lot of settings here. In the settings, also you have filter modes, DSD, cutoff, sound quality, button for next, where you can set the volume up and down button for the next and back. You have brightness also, sleep time, language, and calibration for the touchscreen. Let's take a look at the screen also. So being resistive, you need to apply some pressure for it to work. It's not like, you're seamless. Look at this, guys. It's not your seamless like capacitive, so you need to apply some pressure for it to work. But yes, it works fine. I didn't encounter any bugs, but I would prefer to have a next and back button instead of swipe, especially for a resistive touchscreen. And also the swipe here from the right, it's kind of a hassle to do also, because when you shift here at the top, you won't get that. But when you shift it down here, you will get it. So it's not, that accurate. You don't know where to swipe. So I think yes, that is an improvement that they can do also with the software in the ZISHAN T1. So in terms of software, definitely it's more of like a bare bones kind of kit. It works for your basic tasks, but definitely this is not the most powerful OS that I have seen, and not the most responsive also. It works just fine, but yeah, not the most powerful, not the most sophisticated. So in terms of power, this is pretty powerful. In my IEMS, the volume is just 40 to 50, and I also use this with my headphones. With my HD600, it's around 68 in volume. With my T50RP, it's around 68 in volume also. With my Odys EL8s, it's 50 in volume. So you have a lot of power even to drive, more powerful headphones. In terms of power, not so bad overall. So how does the ZISHAN T1 sound? So the T1 is a smooth sounding DAP. It's also an energetic DAP. It's a lively DAP. And it's also neutral in presentation here, which is something great, especially for this price range. So the detail is above average. It's not bleeding in detail. It's not the most detailed I've heard, but definitely not so bad for the price range. It's enough detail for a casual listen, definitely. So the soundstage here is above average. It has more depth compared to width. The imaging is also above average here. So the separation is also above average. Due to the good imaging here, it's easier to pinpoint the instrument. So not so bad overall in pinpointing the instruments, but of course I wish that it has a bigger soundstage here. So overall in single-ended, I like the neutrality of the sound and also with the smooth nature of the sound while still being energetic and fun. So this is a fun listen overall. I'd say in terms of pairing, this works well for critical listening IEMs or maybe clinical sounding IEMs like maybe the 10T3, and I actually like this with my Shure 846, which is the IEM that I use for this test. This fits well with the ZISHAN T1. So this makes IEMs that's tuned for critical listening more fun and more for a casual listen. So I do like that kind of characteristic by the ZISHAN T1. So using balanced here, of course also with the Shure 846, in balance mode, it has a bigger stage. So my gripe with the single-ended now increased in the balance mode. It has a bigger stage in the balance mode. The imaging is also better with the balance mode. It's still smooth in presentation. It's actually smoother in presentation in balance mode. So whether you like that or not, that will be up to you, definitely. So it's more lively sounding also in the balance mode. Like in Mr. Big, the snare sound has more bite in the balance mode. Just has more energy in the balance mode. So frankly, for me, I do like the balance mode for my Shure 846. So as I mentioned, the Shure 846 is more of a critical listening IEM, and because of that smooth nature of the sound of the T1, it smoothens out the 846 a bit. It makes it a little bit more fun, especially for a casual listen. Definitely, I like balance more than the single-ended in the ZISHAN T1. So compared to the popular DAPs here in the channel, so compared to the ZISHAN modded, the T1 has a cleaner sound overall compared to the ZISHAN modded. The ZISHAN modded has more smooth sound and has some distortion in the Z1. So definitely, yes, the T1 is cleaner sounding overall. The T1 is more detailed in general. The ZISHAN modded actually has more depth in terms of sound stage, but the T1 has more height. So in terms of stage, the ZISHAN modded is not so bad overall compared to the T1. The T1 also has better imaging compared to the ZISHAN modded. So the ZISHAN modded is not so bad, especially for that $30 to $50 price range. It even beat the soundstage part in the T1. Definitely overall, I do like the T1 more than the ZISHAN Z1 modded. Next is the ZISHAN Z1 modded plus the Q1 Mark II. So now having the Q1 Mark II paired with the ZISHAN Z1 modded is actually almost in the same price or more expensive compared to your T1. So now with the ZISHAN Z1 modded and the Q1, the ZISHAN is now cleaner sounding overall. But still overall, the T1 is cleaner sounding, but the ZISHAN is very close now to the T1. The Z1 opened up even more in terms of soundstage. The stage is now bigger in the Z1 compared to the T1. So yes, with the Q1 Mark II, the stage now opened up and it now beat the T1 in terms of soundstage. The Z1 also has more clear-cut imaging, so definitely in terms of imaging is better than the T1 now. The ZISHAN also has more energetic sound overall compared to the T1. In terms of detail, they're almost similar. In terms of the signature, they're almost similar as well. So overall, I do like the ZISHAN modded plus the Q1 more than the T1. But yeah, it's more expensive, but I do like this combination more than the T1. Alright, so verdict. So the ZISHAN Z1 is definitely a surprise for me. Still in a very cheap category, but I do like that it has a neutral presentation. It has enough detail to throw around, and definitely that clean sound that you can use for even more expensive headphones and IEMs. You can see a lot of people making this their daily driver because of that clean and just welcoming kind of sound. And also with that smooth nature of the sound, that kind of signature plays well, especially for the casual listening crowd. If you have, more boring headphones, if you pair it with this, you'll have a more fun experience overall, which is what I think people in this price range are looking for. Not really looking for, a critical listen, but more of a fun listen that they can use for their daily listening. And this definitely fits that bill. For $70, you're getting a very good, casual listening DAP. Yes, it's not the most beautiful piece of kit that you can see. It's not Apple in design. But definitely it works, and for the price that you're paying for $70, there's a lot of value to throw around. So $70, yes, I think this is worth it, especially for the sound that you're getting for. Of course, just take note of the cons that I have mentioned. If you can live with that, maybe this is for you. Alright, so that is my review of the ZISHAN T1. Of course, if you want to buy one, use my links down below from our friends from Wooeasy. And of course, if you learned something, leave a like, and of course, subscribe for more content like this in the future. And I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Bye.